All right, peeps. Today we're actually moving into something new. What we're talking about today is called geometry. Specifically, we're talking about area. I know that fourth and fifth grade, hopefully, I know you guys missed a little bit of last year, but in fourth and fifth grade, you guys should have talked about area of at least rectangles and squares. Today we're going to add another shape onto that. We're actually going to find area of triangles also. Um, Area of squares and rectangles are exactly the same formula. A formula is something that you use to actually calculate the area or calculate whatever thing we're trying to calculate. Today we're going to be using area formulas because we're finding the area of different shapes. A square, to find the area of a square, you multiply the length times the width. When you're talking about squares and rectangles, it doesn't really matter which one you say is the length, which one you say is the width, because there's really only two dimensions for each one of these. For a square, this one side is 8 feet, which means the other side over here, the width, should also be 8 feet. The reason for that, a square is the same length on each side. So if I only give you one length, you should know that the width is going to be the exact same because it's a square and all four sides are the same. To calculate the area of that, I would multiply the length that I know times the width. 8 times 8 is 64. Since we're talking about area, we have to have, or since it's a unit of measurement, we have to have our units feet. And something that's probably going to be new or something you just don't remember, when you're talking about area, it's a little bit different than length because length is just talking about in one direction, but area is talking about something that's in two different directions and everything that's inside of that. So since area has two dimensions, we have to put a little 2, kind of like an exponent, above our feet. This is actually 64 feet squared. The little 2 means that you're finding area. Area is the space inside of a shape. So when I'm finding the area of this square, there's 64 square feet all inside of this shape. Area finds the space inside. Rectangle uses the exact same formula. Length times width. My length is 12. My width is 3. 12 times 3 is 36. The unit is feet squared. Y'all, these two I didn't really expect to give you guys much trouble because I know you guys have seen these two before. I will leave that up there for you guys to see. The one that's going to be kind of new, or the one that is going to be new to you, is when I find the area of a triangle. Let me move my board over. All right. So now I'm going to be finding the area of these triangles here. So the area formula for a triangle is actually kind of similar to a square formula. It says length times width. This one says base times height, but those are actually the similar formula or similar pieces of the shape. When you're talking about the base has to be the bottom. Just like your TV sits on a base, if it's on a base, it should be flat. Your TV doesn't sit on an angle like this, or at least I hope not, because if your TV sits like this, it's going to be falling off the side. So your base has to be flat. If I'm talking about the base here, my base number for this triangle is going to be this 8 centimeters because that's the flat part of my triangle. That's my base. The next thing we need to do is find our height. Well, height, just like if you've gone to the hospital, you go to the doctor measures your height. Your height is measured straight up and down. So hopefully you don't go to the hospital and your doctor measures your height diagonally like this. Height has to be measured straight up and down. So for this first triangle, the height has to be that 9 centimeters there. So now that I know the base and the height, I can go ahead and start working my math problem. Base is 8, height is 9. 8 times 9 divided by 2 means I should have 8 times 9 is 72 divided by 2. Dividing by 2, we've talked about multiple times, y'all. Dividing by 2 really is just cutting something in half. Yes, you can still set it up and divide it by 2, though. That's definitely the smartest way to do it. $72 divided by 2 gives me 36. So my answer, I'm going to use a different color real quick, y'all. So my answer to this problem, since I have 36, and we're talking about area of a shape or the space inside of the shape, that's 36 centimeters squared with a little 2. I'm now going to use the same formula for this second triangle here. Y'all, I'm about to pause this and erase this real quick. If you need this where I go ahead and get it, I'm about to erase it so I can do the area for this next triangle. All right, y'all, sometimes you'll get a triangle that is not a right triangle, that doesn't have a straight up side like that last one did. This triangle, you can see that these sides are kind of angled. So they actually gave us a line in the middle. That green dotted line in the middle, this might be kind of hard to see. But that green line in the middle, that dotted line is always going to be your height. Y'all, there's going to be a lot of shapes that we see later on that have a little dotted line in the middle. That's always going to be the height value that you need if you're looking for that. So my base is still the bottom. Remember, base should be flat. 7 times my height is 11. Then I divide by 2. 7 times 11 is 77. And then we do 77 divided by 2 to get our answer. 2 goes into 17 8 times. 2 goes into 10 5 times. So I have 38.5. Hopefully you guys can see that. I'll write that a different color as well. I got 38.5 as my answer. So since I'm finding the area or the total space inside of the triangle, that is 38.5 centimeters squared. Y'all, online folks, today, as long as you do the math and check your work, it's going to be multiple choice. So if you do your math and you do your steps correctly, you should get a 100 on this assignment, honestly, peeps, because you're doing multiple choice, so your answer should match exactly what you get mathematically. Please, y'all, if you have any questions, let me know. Tomorrow we'll learn about a rhombus and a trapezoid as well. So we're going to add 2 more things to area tomorrow. But for today, we're talking about rectangles and squares and triangles. Thanks, guys.